Hello, Markee Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and welcome to another episode of the Mailbag. So, I am this time again just reading the mail blind. Hopefully, I don't embarrass myself with something happening that would be, well, maybe in poor taste. Goodness. Okay, so let's get started here, right here. So, World of Warcraft botting. Hello, stranger. My name is Philip, and I've been playing World of Warcraft since it released in Europe. Ever since the glider came out, I started to use it on my account almost every day. Suddenly, they shut it down, as you know. Yes, I was involved in that court case. Let's see. Yeah, I had to testify in that case. Okay, and let's see here. Suddenly it was shut down. Then I started to use other bots and such, and I never ever been banned in WoW. Sometimes I used bots for many days and nothing happened whatsoever with my accounts. Even today, I'm still using bots and such. No bans, no warnings. Is it luck? Do they even care about it? Thanks, Philip. Well, so on the subject of World of Warcraft bots, I do have quite a history with that, and it is something that I got deposed in the case of Blizzard versus MDY Industries, which MDY Industries was Glider, and so we were forced to turn over records of all the sales that we had done for Glider and stuff, but we redacted everything, so they couldn't see the IP, they couldn't see the name of the person or the email address or the phone number. All of that was blacked out. So all I saw was that somebody on this date bought this. But it was an amazing amount of paperwork. Oh my God. Because we had thousands of copies that we had sold. So anyway, it was, let's just say that was an experience that I don't want to replicate. And after that point, we decided we were no longer going to deal with anything that violated the terms of service of a game with our companies, or at least I decided that. And that holds true to this day. Don't do anything that violates the terms of service. So anyway, the fact that you have not been caught is, let's just say that you've been lucky, and I think you've been very lucky. And it's, I can tell you that, a funny story about my father. My father tried Glider after seeing us use it, and he tried it just after one day he was banned. One day. And he was very upset because he had been working on that account for like a year or so at that point. And so he was not happy whatsoever about being banned. And so you've been very lucky. And I don't think that luck will continue forever. There is some stuff about, obfuscation of using a bot and whether or not, they're detecting the actual software running on your machine, or whether they are looking at behavior that you are doing. Both can get you banned, and so you've just been really lucky. I don't recommend bots for anyone. I think that they are overall bad for the game, unless they are designed by the game publisher themselves. There is one game out there that I've seen, and I can't recall the name of it for the life of me, but they have a bot that's a free-to-play game, and they have a bot that will automate things for you, like farming, doing your chores and stuff like that, other mundane tasks. It will automate all of that for you in exchange for buying premium. And so I thought that was quite interesting. Otherwise, you just do it all manually yourself, which is click, 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 So anyway, good luck to you, Philip. I think that eventually your time will come and you'll be banned. So, okay, Cryptic Gaming League here says, hello again, it's Synthesis. Well, I just said your game name was Cryptic Gaming League. So it must be Synthesis in game or on Twitch. I'm not sure. I have another question for you regarding business. How would you find your company if you didn't already have previous companies to draw funds? Oh, how would I fund my company if I didn't already have previous companies to draw funds from for the start of a new one? If you have any stories regarding this, it'd be really cool to hear about it. Okay, well, let me tell you that funding is one of the biggest issues, and it is. I'm just trying to think here because I don't want to go too much into how we funded. MarkeeDragon.com, where I'm working, I own the domain, but I don't own the company. And I don't own the company because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to own anything right now because my previous company was taking me down. And what I mean by that is that even though I sold the company and I left and I had no debt that I took with me from my previous company, I could see that they were making very poor decisions, and that I had a plan in place already for what should happen to the company prior to me leaving, and they decided not to follow that. Basically, forced me to sell the company, and so I have no control whatsoever over what happens there. And they really got themselves into a position where they couldn't pay all of their bills, and then they have just filed for bankruptcy. But in that whole process, I had liability of being sued for more than $1 million. And having that kind of debt over my head, knowing that I could be sued for that, and I was being sued by multiple companies because I was the CEO whenever those contracts were signed, and so they try and pierce the corporate veil of that. And anyway, so I can tell you that. That I don't actually own my business right now. I don't own my own company. I own this channel, but the Markee Dragon game codes, I don't own it. But I do work there, and I am a very important part of it. I don't plan on going anywhere, and the domain pointing to it is mine. But anyway, getting back to funding. So funding is really hard, and you can't get people to trust you. Now, I happen to be very lucky that I have people who trust me and the owner of the company, and we were able to get funding to start this. And so now, with that said, the funding wasn't enough that we can just say, oh, let's just hire a bunch of people and everything, and they'll do all the work for us, and we can go off yippee-skippy doing all kinds of other things. The funding was only just enough to get rolling. And what it meant is that Alexandra and I worked amazing amounts of hours, 70 hours a week, for, golly, when did we start doing this? I guess it was in September or so, and so it's been over 6 months now of working those kinds of hours, and really, really incredible amount of hours. And so with having less funds, it was definitely more hours. And owning your own business, why work for somebody else 40 hours a week when you can work for yourself 70 or 80? But anyway, it very hard to get funding, and if you do get funding, they want a couple of things. They're either going to want a piece of your business, they're going to want some ownership in it, or they're going to want a very high payback. And we got funding from 4 parties, and they all were paid back at a very, very high rate, and so almost loan shark type rates. But risk equals reward. There's a lot of risk involved with it. So that is, I hope that, how do you find it? Golly, start with friends and family. And if it takes a lot more money, I mean, if you're talking about building out a business like an internet cafe or something like that, that's something that's brick and mortar, that can take a lot more money than doing something that's online. And also, before you go for funding, you should prove your concept, because they will be much more likely to fund you if you can show what kind of sales you can do, and that your only piece that's missing is the money. So hopefully that helps. Okay, on to the next thing. I see you've got another one here, but we are going to skip that one. And so we got one here from Freebird. And so Freebird here says, I already sent you a Facebook message about an hour ago. I liked your gaming videos because I was able to understand most of the time, since your face is on the camera, and I was able to play and read your lips. The subtitle translator will not display correctly. After watching your videos about WarZ, I went ahead and bought it. Also, one of your videos about the Luxeed U5 keyboard that lights up in color, I bought that too. Golly, I did one about a keyboard, golly, 4 years ago or something like that. Wow. But I don't recognize the name on that. I think maybe you have me mixed up with somebody else. But okay, so I take it that you're deaf, and that is why being able to read lips was so important. I can tell you some funny stories about the the auto transcribe features here in YouTube. It works for some of my videos, and some of them it comes up with the wackiest stuff. It really does. It's really crazy stuff. But anyway, so that's interesting. So now, okay, let me pitch this out here. Freebird, you as a disabled gamer, so if you are having to read lips, I'm just assuming that you're deaf. And if you're having to read lips, then how does that work in a game like WarZ, where you need to hear that somebody is shooting at you behind you? How does that, do you have like one of those force feedback chairs or whatnot? Or do you use a lot of bass or whatnot so that you can feel stuff? I mean, I know I've heard of some setups from some people who are deaf to where they might have 4 bass boxes hooked up, in each corner, so you can kind of tell where the sound is coming from because you can feel it. But I don't really know how that works. And I would invite you to get in touch with me. I don't know how this would work, but I'm working on a project for disabled gamers where I'm doing interviews. Please get in touch with me. My email is markee@gmail.com, and or message me here again on YouTube. And I'd be interested to get you on camera and talk to you for an interview. I know that sounds pretty crazy, and I'm not sure how that would work, but I suppose if you can read lips and I'm always talking into the camera, maybe that can work just fine. But I'd like to hear about how you deal with that. I think that is very, very fascinating. So, okay, let's go on to the next thing, and I'm going to leave that one up here so I can actually reply to him in writing here. Okay, so Sinful Gaming, WarZ live streams. Hey Markee Dragon, or hey Markee. My friends and I have been subscribed to your channel for a while now, and I really like your videos. We also play WarZ a lot and would love if we could ever play with you. If you can make this happen, it would be awesome. Message me on Skype at Markee Dragon and ask to be added to the WarZ list. But I got to tell you, it's going to be 5 or 6 weeks before we're playing again. So it's going to be just a little bit of time. Okay. Podcasts. Toxic Gamer 95. He says, "Hey Marcus, I love the chilling out and the chilling out and listening to you talk on your videos. So peaceful. I hear that a lot. I don't actually know what it is that you guys find so interesting about my voice. But I did at one point think that maybe I should go into radio or something like that, but it just really wasn't meant to be with my dyslexia. You see how I read this crap. I'm reading this stuff here. You guys can see it on the screen, and you see me missing stuff. You see me adding words that aren't there and everything. That is my dyslexia. And I seem to get through life okay, but if I had to read a script and say, this episode brought to you by Campbell's Soup, or whatever, I'd screw it up. And so, it wasn't meant to be for me. Have you considered doing podcasts? Just talking about random stuff. Ask your fans if they're like you to do one or something. I think it would go down well. Well, here's something that's interesting, and I'm going to try this. So we have our first episode of Shroud of the Avatar that we're about to record, and it's Shroud of the Avatar Roundtable, and so we're going to record this. It'll be a talk and everything. It's going to be a roundtable. Camera is not necessarily required. Maybe just hearing it will be just fine. I have a feature within our forums. We're using vBulletin, and within our forums they have a podcast feature. And so, you know what? I will take that one and I will try and turn it into a podcast. I'll also export it as just an MP3 or whatever, or maybe an MP4 that's lower quality on the video, and people can play them as a podcast. There are a lot of people who tell me that they watch my YouTube videos, but they don't really watch them. They bring them up, they play them, they listen to them while working or whatever. And so I'll try that with the Shroud of the Avatar one, and we will take it from there. So see if that works. I don't know if it will or not. I don't have much experience in that area, but I am certainly willing to try it. Okay, so that is it for this episode. If you're watching on Twitch, don't go anywhere. Stay right here. If you're on YouTube, you're just going to have to wait for another day for another episode. So thanks everybody for being here, and send me your questions in YouTube because they're going to get read right here on the show.